Well, aloha kakahiaka, everybody. Today is June 11th, and it's 9 o'clock Hawaii time. If you're not watching this live, you're hitting the pre-recorded version. You could actually skip forward about 5 minutes. This is the first pregame, what I call the pregame show, where we kind of warm everything up, get the audience to start to stream in, and we also do our mic checks. So I'm here with my friends, Dylan Nonaka from the Big Island, Scott Startzman from Oahu, and Heidi Dollinger from Maui. Let's do our traditional kind of moves over here. Dylan, we're gonna go in clockwise order. So Dylan, what's going on, buddy? What's the Aloha shirt? What's happening? How's Kona? What's going on? You're muted.
See, that's why we got to warm up there.
That's what the warm up is for. That's what we're doing right now.
I'm doing the Ren Spooner with a Dietrich Verez print on it today. And if you're not familiar with Dietrich Verez, look him up. He does some really cool. It's like stamp printing where they carve out the wood and then stamp it onto canvas. And so this is like one of his. He's got lots of different prints, but they make shirts out of them. So pretty cool.
Now, I don't know if it's intentional, but it also happens to your shirt matches perfectly with the background posters you have color-wise.
Not intentional.
It's just like, see, because guys, I think guys are unable to do that kind of thing. We color matching, it's just like it doesn't just work with my brain.
But I'm colorblind. I don't have normal color perception.
On top military, of it, well,
so I can't be a pilot.
For a colorblind guy, you've done an amazing job of color matching. It's absolutely astounding. Scott, what's going on, buddy? How's life on Oahu? What's the shirt? What's going on?
Actually, we got some kind of junky weather today. This Diamond Head never gets clouds, hardly ever. I mean, you could have clouds in other areas of the island pretty consistently, or even out through Waikiki, but for some reason, Diamond Head always stays pretty clear. You could even have rain going on over Manoa, not even 5 minutes from here, and it's still sunny right here at the Diamond Head. But today we got a little bit of mist coming through, and we got some cloud coverage. It's not as sunny as it usually is, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I was really surprised this morning. It's one of those, it was like overcast and raining. It's like, what the heck? In summertime? Oh, well, but hey, that's right. And hey, want to give a shout out to Judy Weber. Judy is a member of the Islander Ohana. Welcome back, Judy. I hear some good news about how things are going along on the Big Island. Hopefully she's going to be a homeowner there soon. That's great. Tom's with us.
They'll be back next week.
Next week.
Yep.
Oh man, that's going to be awesome. Looking forward to that. I want to hear that story. Welcome to Tom. Welcome back, Tom. Good to see you, buddy. And Sherman, aloha from Tennessee. Aloha, Sherman. Aloha from Hawaii. And so speaking of Hawaii, Maui is Maui no Ka'oi. Heidi, what's going on in Maui? What's the coffee today, Heidi? How's it going?
Well, I was out and about this morning. I was in Lahaina town, so I got coffee at Old Lahaina Coffee Company. They have really, really great coffee, and you can only get it in Lahaina. I think you can buy it online too. But I had a blend called the Whale's Tails, and it's Maui mocha coffee. It has kind of this natural chocolate taste, but there's nothing added to it. So it was excellent. Highly recommend it.
Whale tail coffee from Lahaina Coffee Company. There's just something about that, Heidi, that just sounds just damn cool all the way around. Just the whole thing. It's whale tail coffee from Lahaina, and we all know how cool Lahaina is. It was the former capital, was the capital of the state a long time ago. Really, really neat. Thanks, Heidi, for that great update. And let's say hi to our friends here. Patrick is back with us. Hey, Patrick, how's it going, buddy? Aloha, guys, and Heidi. Good to be in your mainland audience once again. Back home on the East Coast from my Las Vegas and Joshua Tree Memorial Day vacation. Excellent. I won, but not quite enough yet to be a cash buying Hawaii homeowner. LOL. Low mahalo. Hey, Patrick, keep going for it, buddy. Live the dream, man. Got to live the dream. Just like Dylan's living the dream. Look at Scott. Scott's got the coconut trees behind him. Heidi's having coffee from Lahaina, whale tail coffee from Lahaina. This is it, man. This is it. Neil, welcome, Leo. Welcome. Aloha, Neil. Great to have you. And Brandon, El Paso. Excellent. Welcome from El Paso. All right. Well, hey, that our 5-minute warm up period is done, and we are absolutely warmed up. Let's kind of switch over to talk about some news. The latest kind of a quick headline. So interesting here. What's going on, folks, is the median home price is getting to $1 million. So Maui, there was a story, and I want to hear what Heidi's got to say about this. We're going to switch into that right after this. But Maui home prices went over the historic $1 million median home price. Median homes means half the price. It means half of the homes sold for more than $1 million, half the homes sold for under $1 million. First time for Maui, and Oahu is actually really getting close to its $985,000 is the median home price on Oahu. And I'm going to definitely want to hear about this more details from Scott and from Heidi. $9 for a loaf of bread. You're probably getting hit. With inflation at home in Hawaii. You know, it's hardcore. So $9 for a loaf of bread. There you have it. This is there was a teacher that they interviewed, Mrs. Nakamura, and she said, I couldn't believe it. We couldn't find green onions. Finally found them at a grocery store, but for $4 a bunch. $4 a bunch of green onions. That used to go for 99 cents. So Hawaii, true to its form, Hawaii is more expensive than every place else, but it is what it is. And we're living in paradise. We're paying for the price for it, but we're loving it. COVID, look, folks, I bring these stories every so often. 2 were arrested in Maui for violating COVID travel rules. We had one, basically what they did is we had folks that came to Maui without having a negative COVID test, which is one thing. And then they broke quarantine, which is the big boo-boo. And what happened is one of them volunteered to leave Maui. And where did they fly them? Oh, they flew them to Oahu because, you know, we could do it. So that's that. But the other one flew back to Virginia. So, you know, word to the wise, if you're going to come to Hawaii, plan it carefully. Make sure you've got your things all registered and correct, and don't mess that up. June 15th looks like we're loosening up on restrictions. We're going to be having some June 15th, a couple things are going to be happening. We're going to get more details later, but if you've been vaccinated in Hawaii, you can go back and forth, trans-Pacific, back and forth to the mainland and come back without having a COVID test. There's going to be some relaxing on the neighbor island restrictions as well. There's going to be some details, but I just wanted to tell you about it so you get it here first. And then finally, if you're a Southwest Airlines fan, you're going to love it because Southwest is now making a real big deal of coming back and forth from Hawaii, from Las Vegas. It's one of their biggest legs. So that's pretty much the news. The COVID case count there, you see the cases are kind of still going down. The fatalities are really coming down. Those two used to correlate, but no longer. And of course, the weather is perfect in Hawaii, except for today on Oahu, which is less than perfect. But that is what it is. So anyway, hey, look, gang, you know what I was going to say? I was thinking about the fact that we had these $1 million stories. Let's just go right into a real estate market update, and I'm going to want to hear from Scott and from Heidi about the $1 million thing. But before, why don't we just go in order here? So, Dylan, what's going on the Big Island? It's been nonstop bananas. We all know that. What's new and notable that's happened over the past 2 weeks in the market, Dylan?
Well, we have some fresh data from May now. So the May sales data closed out, and looking at the data for May, although it still looks bananas compared to a year ago, because obviously there wasn't much activity in May of last year. If we compare it to last month, there's actually a pretty significant slowdown. So across the island, like 30 less homes sold than last month, 50 less condos sold than last month. So things are slowing down mainly just due to a lack of inventory. So we're still at pretty historically high levels of volume, but compared to the last couple of months, things are actually tapering off because we're running out of inventory. But the fun fact for today on what's going on in the market is last month there were 30 homes that sold over $3 million on the Big Island. A year ago there were 3. 2 years ago there were 4. So just to give you some comparison, there's usually in the single digits, and there were 30 homes over $3 million that sold. So there is a ton of activity in that higher price range. And even though Maui and Oahu is looking at that $1 million median price, that's not the case on the entire Big Island, but in the Kona market where I focus on, the median price is up to $948,000. So we're creeping up there close to that $1 million mark also in the west side of the island.
Wow, that's a big one, man. It looks like holy moly. It's what I mean. I guess that's the way the market's kind of rolling. What is there anything that you could attribute to it? I mean, is there a why behind it? Everybody's waking up to it. All the California people with their jets flying into the Kona airport are buying homes there. What's
Well, I mean, there's definitely no shortage of money, but if you look at, my theory here is if you look at the buyer who can afford that $3+ million property, I think this last year has taught them, do you want to be in a penthouse in New York or, a mansion in Beverly Hills, or do you want to be in Kona? Right? I mean, you could put that 3, 4, 5 million anywhere in the country, but where do you want to put it now based on what's been going on in the world? And I think that's a big piece that's driving it. Is just like everybody else, the regular $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 home buyer wants to be here too. But if you got 50 million, you want to be here also, right? It doesn't change. I mean, human behavior is pretty similar. Doesn't matter how much money you have. So.
That's a really good point. I think with this, I think what this Zoom, remote work thing has really woken everybody up to is that since you can live anywhere, exactly, do you want to have the $1 million condo, or do you want to have the $1 million house on the big one? Hey, Dylan, real quick before we move on to Scott, I wanted to share with you here. Jim David. Jim will be flying into in Kona in exactly 1 week from Maui, attending a wedding. Like to meet with Dylan while I'm there. Jim, if you haven't yet done this, there's a link in the description. Click on the link and put your name in, so we got a contact method, because that's how we're going to get a hold of you. Either that or Dylan, maybe this is a YouTube comment. You can go on the YouTube channel and do a quick reply to Jim's comment. But either way, Jim, that's great. Good to that's wonderful to hear.
Jim.
Jim, you should say hi to Heidi while you're there in Maui, while you're having that wedding. Maybe go get some of that whale tail coffee in Lahaina. But anyway, excellent. Oh, and Mark Lowe is back. Mark is a member of the Islander Ohana. Mark, welcome back, buddy. Good to see you. Hope all is well. And with the journey, of course, Auntie Joyce is with us and toasting with the morning Kona coffee. Yes, the morning Kona coffee. Absolutely. So welcome back, Auntie Joyce. Great to see you. And Edlin, which bread go to Costco? Yes, Costco is the great savior. I went to Costco. I didn't buy a loaf of bread. I don't know what it's costing, but if Edlin is that Costco, is that a Hawaii Island Costco, or is that another Costco? Let us know. All right, great. Let's go over to Scott. Scott, what's going on Oahu? The $1 million median price. What are some of the numbers? What's going on?
Yeah, we're close on the median price. We're at $978,000 on the median home price here, and guaranteed we're going to hit $1 million prior to the end of the summer. And you're going to see all the headlines come out, and people's heads are going to explode at that point. I think what you're going to end up probably seeing is, some of the people in office and whatnot, they're going to be saying, "Oh, we got to do something about this." There'll be this big screaming, from the local people about how, we can't let this happen, and we got to keep housing affordable, and there'll be this big discussion, and then it'll disappear. But we're going to hit it prior to the end of the summer. I pretty much guarantee that, unless something crazy happens. It's interesting because number of new listings for single family homes is actually up a little bit. We're at 480 new listings, but when I look, I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of interesting. We've been going in the downward trend. Available homes on the market, but I looked at pending sales and number of sales, and they both increased by the same amount of number of listings that are active. So forget it. Inventory we're not slowing down. It's not going anywhere. In fact, our months of inventory remaining is at 1.2 months, which exactly matches the low that we hit in 2007, which had 20% price appreciation. We're at 20% price appreciation. It's mirroring. Just to kind of give you a perspective on stories, wrote an offer in Kailua competing with 11, wrote offers in Ocean Point out in Eva. There were, 10 to 17 offer competitions on that. And that's with a, $50,000 to $75,000 appraisal clause, $50,000 to $75,000 over asking price, even concessions such as, paying for sellers, closing costs, no TIR, no termite, no cleaning required by the seller. So that's what kind of market you start looking at when you have 20% price appreciation and that little bit of inventory. The interesting thing on the condo side is inventory is nosediving right now, because last month there were about 700 pending sales. There's now 1,100 pending sales this month, meaning a lot more went into escrow, and the inventory is quickly starting to shrink on that condo side to catch up with what the housing market has been doing.
Man, this thing is
It's not slowing down.
it's not slowing down, man. It is not slowing down.
By the way, I watched a Paul Brubaker video, and I'm going to post it on my my YouTube channel here in a little bit. But it's exactly what I was saying is exactly what he's saying as well. He's like, this is not a demand issue. This is a supply issue. There's no inventory. There's just not enough inventory, and people aren't moving. They aren't bringing their homes on the market. So when does that end? It doesn't end until something happens on the supply side, not the demand side. And the other interesting thing he said was in 2019, housing affordability was actually at its best position that as far as an affordability standpoint. And then interest rates dropped. So a lot of this price appreciation that we're seeing in this demand stems from just a phenomenal affordability on what people, income versus what the mortgage payment would be and what they can qualify for. So we're just eating up some of that at this point. That may slow down here. It's going to have to slow down here some, but it's not uncommon with that drop in interest rates.
You know what really struck me, Scott, is as you're saying all this is like the folks that like everyone who's watching it right now and myself have got to be like the most educated real estate people right now in Hawaii. Just listening to hearing you guys and Heidi talk, every other week and give us these amazing numbers and these amazing facts. I feel like I'm so much more educated. I feel good. So I appreciate that a whole lot. Hey, we got a quick one from Joan Valentine. Aloha from Colorado Springs. Aloha, Joan. I want to go to Oahu in 8 days. Oh, that's the wrong. My nose is like put my hands over there. Anyway, I want to go to Oahu in 8 days. And in August, when I tried to make reservations yesterday, I found out I have to quarantine for 10 days. I had both my vaccines in Colorado. Yeah, Joan. So here's the scoop, Joan. Vaccines don't matter right now in Hawaii. We don't care. Because you didn't get your vaccine in Hawaii. As far as we're concerned, you're not vaccinated. So, Joan, all you have to do to not be quarantined is you have to go to that. There's a video that's on the YouTube channel a long time ago, how to skip quarantine. Look that up on our YouTube channel. But basically, you have to get the Hawaii Travels app. Get the Travels app installed on your phone or whatever. It's not an app you install. It's a web page. But get the Hawaii Travels app, log in, create an account. Go get tested, have a negative test 3 days, less than 72 hours prior to flying, and you can sail right through. I did it, and you can do it. So not a problem, Joan. Can be done. Also, Brandon Grantham, I'm moving to Oahu next month. Awesome. I was wanting to buy, but not in this market. Is this the new normal, or where prices go down within the next few years? Brandon, we talk about this here. Scott, give us the big nod, Scott. Give us the big head movement. There you go. Ain't going down, Brandon. We talked about this at the last show. You should look at that. We went them in depth. Prices aren't going down. So if you're going to buy now. In fact, there's a bunch of videos we posted all about all that. So Brandon, sorry, buddy. Well, here's the good news, Brandon. Prices are going up. If you, isn't that kind of fun? Excuse me, gang. I just got a flash of stupidity right now. Some people have aha moments. I have duh moments. So I just had a duh moment. And the duh moment is, if you think the prices are going up, why wouldn't you buy right now? Right? If you think if you think about buying a stock, just forget about a house. Think about buying a stock. And you kind of like someone gave you some inside scoop that the stock price is going to go up. Would you wait? Or would you buy it? If you think prices are going up, buy. Okay, that's my dumb moment. It's just stupid. Heidi, please stop me, Heidi. Stop me before I hurt myself. What's going on in Maui, Heidi? What's the update? The $1 million mark? How's the market? What's going on, Heidi?
Well, you broke the big news that the median price for a single family home on Maui is now over $1 million. Our statistics showed it's $1,039,000. And it seems unbelievable, but No signs of that slowing down anytime soon. Now, the median prices for condominiums went down just a little bit last month to $615, but I mean, they've been strongly appreciating in recent months. We did have more inventory come on the market in May, but all that is getting absorbed. The number of properties going under contract is at a high right now. I mean, even just looking back over the past 10 years. So it's a fun market. It's a market. I mean, I think I said this before. It's important to work with a good agent, be engaged. It's not the type of market where you can plan a trip in a couple months and tour a whole bunch of properties and then go home and make a decision. It's important to do your due diligence up front and have a lot of knowledge before things come on the market. So when the right property comes up, you're ready to make a move. That's kind of what I'm finding right now. I mean, I'm working with a lot of buyers and I know that new inventory is going to come up. It's just, it's all about timing in real estate.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, so inventory, is there like some new developments going on in Maui, Heidi? What's bringing on that new inventory that you alluded to?
I mean, there's just a few more listings coming on the market, but I mean, this is compared to recent history where there was very low inventory as well. So inventory is still very low. It is still very low.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, this is an interesting topic, gang. I'm feeling drawn into this because it's like it could be a fun conversation. But before we get drawn into it, we have a couple things that came in from our friends. So Brandon, hope that helps you with your dilemma, Brandon. It's a big one. Jim, I was about to call out and do a where's Jim post. Jim is back. Aloha kakahiaka. Welcome back, Jim. Great to see you, buddy. Thanks for being with us again. Neil says, what percentage of your buyers are work from home moving from the mainland? Can we give a really fast answer, like a percentage number, or don't know? Let's just go. Let's go in reverse order. Heidi, what percentage of your buyers are work from home moving from the mainland?
I would say only a small percentage.
Small
right
percentage,
now.
okay.
I'm in a resort market. I have a lot of buyers who are buying part-time homes to go back and forth.
Got it.
And then I have some local buyers that live here, are buying a place to live, or are buying an investment property.
Got it. Scott, what about you? What percentage of your buyers are work from home, moving from the mainland?
Maybe 5-10% max. And I'm even skewed because I have, more of my clientele base is going to be a mainland draw. So that's going to be even skewed more compared to a lot of realtors here.
Interesting. So, okay. And Dylan, what about your guys? What's been your experience with your brokerage?
Yeah, I would agree with Scott. I mean, it's probably less than 20%, maybe 10%, something like that. I don't have any real data on that though. And again, it's anecdotal because when we're on the list side, we don't necessarily know what the buyers are doing, right? So
right.
So we only kind of get 50% of the picture. Yeah.
Right. So there is a trend though. There's all kinds of stories. It certainly seems that's getting a lot of coverage. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see what that. Go ahead, Scott.
The bigger trend that I have is people actually transitioning here, moving, not necessarily working remotely. They're just moving here. Period. They're getting out of whatever area they were in, but it's not necessarily work from home at that point.
There's a really interesting shift, right? I think there's a huge cultural shift, a movement shift. There's all kinds of stories I'm catching that people are not coming back from work. They're not going back to their jobs. They're switching. They're leaving their jobs. They're starting. And there's all kinds of going on. There's a big shift. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, there's an interesting one too. I mean, Dylan touched on this a couple of shows back where I was looking at I saw an article about the number of basically new entrepreneurial businesses being created, and it's gone through the roof. So people are some of them are quite shifting away from whatever job they were doing and starting their own thing now. And they finally made that shift into being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, that was Dylan's line, right? If you're not use that COVID money to kind of restart your career, Dylan, is there anything that you wanted to add to that?
I'm definitely noticing that there's people who are buying now to rent it. So I mean, technically it's an investment, but they have an intent to move here in a couple of years. But they see the value in buying now and holding, just renting it out. You can cover your mortgage with your rent, and then you have something when you're ready to move a couple of years from now. And they're of the mind, like you said earlier, prices are going up. It's cheaper to buy it now than wait 3 or 4 years and then buy then. So there's definitely, I see a lot of that going on too.
That's it, man. That is definitely it. Let's see. We have a couple more things over here. So Auntie Joyce agrees. Thank you, Auntie Joyce. Why are people waiting to buy if you have the money and if the prices are going up? That's it. And we have wonderful Ohana members. And Judy, thank you so much for doing this. So Joan, this is for you. So go to travel. Judy was kind enough to give us the URL, travel.hawaii.gov. Get a COVID test at Walgreens. Make sure it's the right test for Hawaii travel. You'll take the test 72 hours before the last leg of your flight. I've done it here in Colorado 3 times and no problems. Judy, heaven sent. Thank you, Judy. That is a great blessing. So Joan, talk to Judy, man. She's from Colorado, did it 3 times. And Judy is going to be soon a Big Island resident, which is great. And speaking of other members of the Islander Ohana, Megan is a member of the Islander Ohana. Hey, Megan, great to see you. Megan says, aloha, friends. We're finally under contract on Maui and have our inspection today. Please send good vibes. Good vibes going to you. May good vibes go to you and give a good closing to your property, Megan. And Neil says, yeah, mahalo. I thought it would have been hard. Yeah, Neil, that's, if you read the news stories, right, news stories like everyone's moving over here. But, well, again, Neil, I mean, it's not to say that people aren't moving here, but we're talking about buying. So there could be a difference between moving and buying. You could certainly be moving here and renting to see if this is where you want to live. Buying could be another. Go ahead, Dylan.
Let's also remember, 18 months ago, that number was 0. Right. I mean, it wasn't even a thing. Right. So I mean, so even if it's in a single digits or 10%, I mean, that's a big percentage of the normal buyer pool that is a different demographic than it was before. Right. Because it was essentially 0 before.
It's like this perfect storm has come in, right? We've got COVID that came in. Everybody who was sort of selling, not everybody, but Scott, I remember you mentioned a long time ago that a lot of people pulled their houses off the market because of the instability. So you had a huge loss of supply, and then you had sort of these people that so therefore that automatically drives the price up because the supply is down. And this incremental number, Dylan, I mean 5 or 10%. Well, 5 or 10%, that's a good chunk, right? If that's a good chunk, and that's a number of buyers that didn't exist before, which further drives up the demand. And now it's sort of crazy, like lumber. and a loaf of bread, everything's kind of going wacko. So it's crazy. And thanks, Jason. Jason kind of chimes in. I've done it twice. Go through the Hawaiian Airlines testing partners. Very easy and cheaper than doing it at the airport and other places. You don't have to fly with Hawaiian Air to do the test through the partner. Yeah. Thank you, Jason. That's great advice. Go to travel.hawaii.gov. That's the place you want to go to. Sign up on that app. Get an authorized test. They've got it down. So don't be Joan. You're not going to have to go through quarantine if you follow what's going on. Okay, I think we got everyone's comments. If anybody wants to say anything, just jump in. We're going to move on. So one of our Tom, I believe it's Tom Kerr. I don't know if Tom Kerr is here today, but I want to kind of cover. I know we have Tom Main here today, but Tom, I don't think you're the Tom from Oxford. So Tom has been a regular subscriber, audience member, and he threw us a bunch of questions. So the big topic is how much more expensive is it to live in Hawaii? And he sent a few other ones too, like this one. Are there cost of living websites out there that can give me monthly estimates for like electric or food, family of 4? I haven't been able to find them. And then another one he had was, what about shipping a car? He had a whole bunch of questions about shipping a car. So Tom sent us a bunch of questions, and I just kind of want to hit the big topic. We've talked about this in a variety of ways. How much more expensive is it to live in Hawaii? So, I think there are some Tom, there are some websites you can go to. The Islander Ohana, if you're a member of the Islander Ohana, Mark Lowe put together this insane spreadsheet that has like 5 tabs on it that will kind of give you like all kinds of crazy details. And I have it indexed on cost of living against other cities. But though there are websites available. But, so let's kind of go counterclockwise from Heidi, Scott, and then Dylan. So Heidi, just on a general basis, what do you tell people, when you're talking to friends or family and they ask you the question, hey, how much more expensive is it to live in Hawaii? How do you respond, Heidi?
Well, first of all, I've never paid $9 for a loaf of bread. So I don't know where that was, but I didn't buy it. I mean, there are certainly some things in Hawaii that are more expensive. Food's a little more expensive, but I find it's really more about being thoughtful about what you buy. And I mean, it can vary considerably depending on if you're eating out all the time or you're making beans and rice or, what kind of thing that you like to cook. Prior to living on Maui, I lived in downtown Chicago. I had a ton of expenses there that I don't even have to deal with here. I had to pay for parking, taxis. I spent a lot more on entertainment going out. I mean, here on Maui, most of the entertainment is free, going to the beach or a state park or going paddleboarding. I mean, that's all free. I don't have to buy any winter clothes or snow boots, or I don't have to pay for heat. I mean, my place doesn't even have gas, so it's just air conditioning. And I don't know. I found overall, my lifestyle is more different, not necessarily more expensive. But I mean, there are certain things that are more expensive. It depends on the overall picture of what you're doing and also what your lifestyle is before you move to Maui. And also car insurance is less too. Car insurance, parking. I mean, a lot of things were less for me.
Yeah, well said, Heidi. I think I mean, Hawaii is more expensive. There's no doubt about that. But I think it's the counteracting lifestyle that really can potentially offset that. In fact, I had one of our you mentioned snow gear. One of our Islander Ohana members, Catherine, she's moving from Colorado as well, and she was. We had a cohort meeting last week, Friday, and she was having a garage sale and selling all her stuff, and she was holding up snowshoes. And I was thinking about, man, talk about like the most useless thing you could possibly move to Hawaii, snowshoes. I couldn't think of, there isn't anything more useless than snowshoes. Scott, how do you respond when people ask, when you have friends and family that are talking to you, hey, Hawaii is expensive. How, isn't it really expensive? How do you do it?
Yeah, I mean, it is more expensive. To me, I look at it as, standard incomes here versus expenses, which are going to be your living expenses, housing, food, transportation, things such as that. The ratio is higher here typically than it is in other places, but it's not for everybody. It's not that way. And like Heidi said, your lifestyle changes when you come here. You do different things. You buy different things. From the basics, though, there are some things that cost more, but even the grocery shopping, I mean, you can still find good values and good deals. I always joke around when I travel to the mainland, I look at the Whole Foods bar that they charge. You get the food, the hot bar there, where it's like I think it's per pound, $7.99 per pound or something. And I always look when I go to San Diego and other places on the mainland, hey, what's the Whole Foods hot bar price per pound in other areas? And it's always like $1 less, a pound somewhere else. And so that's kind of a small indicator or whatever, jokingly. That's
actually a really good consumer price index kind of number, because it's a combination of all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, I don't feel it. And it's not because it's not like I make some disproportionate income to other people. I'm just more selective on what I do and what I do with my lifestyle. I'm more of an outdoors person to begin with. So most of the stuff I do is free. Like Heidi said, I go surf, swim, hike. None of that costs any money. I don't even have to pay for parking for it. Whereas in a lot of cities, everything you're going to do, you're paying for that. Your transportation costs are going to be more expensive in that situation.
Yeah, that's so well said. I mean, look, Hawaii is more expensive. I tell people it's twice as expensive. Just the, rule of thumb, it's 2x. Our electricity is higher, obviously. And yeah, here we're all saying, well, it's not that. Yeah, $1 million median price. Okay, hello, it's
Well,
way to hell more expensive.
But the housing is really skewed here. That's what
Skewed,
costs
big
you the
time.
most. I mean, my electric bill, I live in a condo. My electric bill is $125 a month. That's not outrageous. That's not over the top. I have all the same appliances that anybody else would. I pay part of that in a maintenance fee and common elements and stuff, but that's not an outrageous electric bill compared
Yeah,
to
I don't know what I don't know how that would compare to a mainland electric bill, but you're probably using less electricity of that nature.
I don't run my AC all the time. It's
Don't run your AC all the
natural
time,
air.
yeah.
I get ventilated. I run it at night, but I don't run it all the time because we have moderate temperatures here.
Yeah, moderate temperatures. Yeah, yeah. We have a couple of comments were popping in. So first of all, thanks, Mark Lowe. This is the guy that folks that did the insane spreadsheet. Mark, thank you. He's a finance guy, and he knows good pineapples are less in Hawaii. Absolutely. Absolutely correct. Let's see here. Cece gave us some advice 7 years ago. Pasha for vehicles. Pasha is one of the two or three companies that ship vehicles from the mainland. The other one is Matson and I believe Horizon, if I'm not mistaken. I think there's two or three. Pasha and Matson for sure do it. Spencer, congratulations. Bought a place in Kona last month, flying there next week, wondering how the pandemic has affected contractor and material availability. Dylan, contractor and material availability. It's not happening, right? It's lumber's crazy and contractors are all busy, right? What's going on?
Yep, terrible time to build.
Nothing like the quick direct answer. Yeah. So hang in there, Spencer. I'm sure you'll find something. Joan, see, there you go. Mahalo for the great advice, Joan. The friends, you're hanging out with the Ohana, man. And they're helping each other out. And Vern, welcome back, Vern. How's it in Shakas, everyone? Mahalos for the great info. Why pay high prices for food when you could live off the land? Plenty of fruits on the side of the road and spearmanini with a 3-prong. Yeah. Well, Vern, I guess, in different strokes for different folks. There was a joke. Actually, funny, Vern, that you say that. There was a joke I saw of one of these meme things that said, yeah, what could be better, spend, days and days laboring to grow a tomato that you can buy in the grocery store for $2.15. So yeah, it all depends. If you want to live off the land, it's certainly possible, I suppose, though not completely. And okay, Joyce says, Joyce had posted a bunch of links. You folks in Facebook have a look at that. Thank you, Joyce. Moneywise.com, worst states for retirement. And states Hawaii are fleeing. Hawaii isn't that bad when you look at other states and their situations. Thank you, Auntie Joyce, for that information. And Spencer, bam, loves the comment, Dylan. Okay, so let's see, where were we going here? We talked about this. We got the Skydie and Hot. Dylan, when people tell you, hey, how much more expensive is Hawaii? What's the response that you give to family and friends, mainland friends, your mainland buddies, etc., who ask you that?
So for me, this is less about data and analysis, and it's more maybe this is like a life coaching answer, right? But the thing to me that is important is we have like two major resources in life, right? We have time and we have money. And so if you're focused on the cost of something and the time doesn't matter as much, then you'll base decisions off of price and cost and things like that. But to me, we got one life to live. Every day that goes by is one less day that we have to live, and we don't know how many days are left, right? In my mind, if you're resourceful and hardworking, you can always make more money. Money is an unlimited resource. So if you prioritize time and your life enjoyment over money, then it doesn't matter. That's the answer. It doesn't matter how much it costs. If you'd rather live here than somewhere else and you'd be happier here, you'll figure it out. And that's what should be the focus, not what electricity costs or bread costs or any of that stuff. To me, it's irrelevant. I'd rather die broke and have lived here and my kids grow up here and live this lifestyle than die rich in some city where I was miserable for most of my life. So that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, thank you, Dylan. So well said. I've I had a similar kind of an experience long time ago, very very long time ago. Heidi, I was in downtown Chicago, and I was going through. I was riding in the L. The L is their elevated rail that goes through the city. It's this big, noisy, old, clunky thing. And it was in the middle of winter and it was freezing cold and I was stuck in this thing and I was like huddled. So I'm huddled in this, I'm huddling and I'm cold in this crowded thing going through the city. And the L's kind of cool because it takes you through like a pie slice of the city. And so you see the worst of the city, you see the best of the city, you see the slums, you see the new, you see everything. And suddenly it all kind of comes to me. And I'm like, why are we doing all this? Why do we get in the L? Why do we kind of slave through these things? Why do we go to work in the morning? And to me, one of the big things is, to your point, Dylan, is you do it to be happy. Right? You do it that you're in the pursuit of happiness. And then I had my sort of my really, really, really big, aha moment. And the aha moment was that in Hawaii, I'm happy. In Hawaii, I'm happy. And I could live in Chicago. I was born in Chicago. I could live in Chicago, make a lot more money, but I wouldn't be happy. And so it wouldn't matter. And the big aha was, Hawaii for me was where my happy place is. And that made it really clear to me and really easy for me to understand that Hawaii was the place and I was going to make it work no matter what, because that's where I was happy. So Dylan, thanks for your life coach.
I had one of those moments this weekend. So on Sunday, we got up in the morning, did some housework, cleaned up the house and stuff. And my kids really wanted to go to the beach, but it was kind of an ugly day. It was kind of cloudy and looked like it was going to rain. But in Hawaii, it doesn't matter. You just still go to the beach because if it rains, you just bring your umbrella. And instead of being under the umbrella for the sun, you're under the umbrella for the rain. And so went to the beach. It was still kind of cloudy and stuff. And definitely halfway through, it started raining. Right. So we're at the beach and we're sitting there and it's not raining hard, but it's drizzling. And I'm looking and my kids are in the water, catching waves, just laughing their heads off, like having a great time. And I'm thinking, like, you couldn't do this anywhere else. It's 75 degrees. It's raining. We don't care. The kids are having a great time. And where else can you do that? Right. And so to me, it's one of those things where, like, those are one of those moments where it's like, man, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be able to do this, because if it's raining anywhere else, you stay indoors, you don't have anything to do. It's miserable. It's cold, and here you can go to the beach. So. And
yeah.
you know what they say about a bad day at the beach, right? It's still better than a great day at work. So. Right.
That's like the fishing thing. And hey, a big shout out to Corey. Corey, Peter, did you dip your nose in chocolate a bit ago? Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna wipe my nose off because. So what happens, Corey, is that I've got this coffee here, right? And I, of course, as I make my coffee, I have to fill it to the very, 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 very top, even above the edge. I got to get every little part of coffee, right? So what happens is when I drink out of it, there's some coffee bits left. See, this is why we do this on YouTube and not on the morning news, right? So I'll dip it in and it kind of gets my nose. So thank you, Corey. Thank you for letting me know about that. I was going to post this video on YouTube to 10,000 subscribers. I think I'm going to do it anyway. But I appreciate you, Corey, so much for letting me know about that. Excellent. Quick shout out, Dylan. I popped this on when you were talking about it. You nailed it. Go for the happiness and peace of mind. Life is too short. Life is like a beach, right? That's the other line, right, Dylan? The best is like the fishing line, right? The worst day fishing is better than the worst day fishing is better than the best day working, right? The worst day at the beach is better than the best day at the office. No doubt about it. Jim, Scott, I really enjoyed those Hawaii listings emails. Narrowing down the focus won't be long. So obviously Scott is a member. He's on Jim is on Scott's mailing list. And Scott is sending him those emails. Jim, I can't wait. Jim, we're going to have a party at your condo. We're doing a party at Jim's condo, Kakako condo or whatever it is. We're going to have a party at Jim's house. I know it. I know it's coming and I'm looking forward to it. Gene says, is it Gene? Yeah, Gene Reynolds says, aloha, Scott. Honolulu is paradise. Yeah, there's another member. So Gene Reynolds is hanging out with Scott. Excellent. Yeah, Honolulu is paradise. Hawaii, that's it, man. I mean, this is what we do it. This is why Hawaii's like, there's like a price of paradise. There's all kinds of things that get skewed in Hawaii, but it's because this is the place and this is where we want to live our lives. Jim, okay, all right, Jim. We're gonna be there. We're gonna be there to Jim's condo party. Awesome. Hey, let's see. It's we got some time. Why don't we kind of do this? Let's we did the market. Let's move on and talk about our Let's see here. Let's go to our diamonds and deals and kind of hit this one up. We got, this is a great, I love this segment that we have inspirational, aspirational homes that my friends have chosen for one reason or another. I have not looked at these in advance, so it's always like, it's like a little bit of Christmas here for me. So let's see what we got here first. So this is Maui. Oh, this looks great. So this is a Pio Drive. Wailuku, Maui, Hawaii, 2 bedrooms, 2 baths for $239. Wait a minute, Heidi, you just told us that the median price was $1 million, that the condo median was $615,000. What's this? This looks beautiful, Heidi. Fill us in.
Well, this would be a deal.
Yeah.
It is fee simple, full ownership. It's 586 square feet. It has an ocean view. This condo, I mean, you can see from the pictures, there's not much to it. It's basically a 1-bedroom condo. It is close to University of Hawaii, Maui campus, and Maui Arts and Cultural Center. So anyway, for an entry-level fee-simple condo for $239, this is a deal. The maintenance fees are $500 a month. They do include water, trash, sewer, common insurance, exterior building maintenance. So electric and Wi-Fi would be separate. So I would estimate maybe another $150 or so to your monthly expenses, and that would be it.
Heidi, I got to ask, what's the catch? There's something's not right here. Fill us in. Why is this price so low? It's crazy. I'm sure it's sold by now. What's going on?
It's just kind of, it's more in central Maui. I mean, it's definitely not a resort area. It's not right by the beach. It's in Wailuku. It's kind of one of the more affordable living options. And I mean, there's not a large inventory of condos on Maui that are under 300,000. I mean, there's really just a handful of properties, and this is one of them. So I know we've been talking about how high the prices are. I just thought it might be interesting to see something at this price point as well.
Yeah, thank you, Heidi. That actually gives a great that gives us some a great texture to what we've been saying, is that these deals are there, and that certainly seems to be a deal. Obviously, you want to go look at it. You said Wailuku, which is kind of like quote unquote Maui sort of urban area, if you will. Not that it's got an urban area, but that's kind of where. And you also mentioned it's close to the University of Hawaii, Maui College, which one might be good if that's what you're interested in. So excellent. Thank you, Heidi. Let's go to the next one here. And this is, awesome. Look, oh my God. So a 3-bedroom, 3.5 bath Waialae Iki home listed for $5.85. Scott, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, it's a beautiful home. Fritz Johnson was the architect on this one. Guy I've worked with for many years in the past. He took over for his dad's side of the architecture firm, but you can tell, I mean, he did a dynamite job with the design elements here. So if you're not familiar with Waialae Iki, East Oahu, basically from Diamond Head to Hawaii Kai, has a number of ridges that are pretty spectacular. Waialae Iki is one of them, and it's a little bit outside of the Kahala area. So you get up elevated, you actually can get Maui views, I should say Molokai, down to Hawaii Kai, Diamond Head views even, and ocean. So spectacular location. This is actually lower on the hill, so your commute up and down is not as bad, and perfectly positioned for privacy. But a custom home, they just finished it a couple of years ago, actually, 4,200 square feet, 3-bedroom, 3.5 bath, but there's another guest suite right on the backside of that pool area where they're totally separated, have their own space. They can come and go as they please. It actually has kind of a safe room or panic room. It has an elevator in the house as well. But the finishes were down just unbelievably. I mean, look in the upper left, that kitchen backsplash is all custom made tiles into that picture. The homeowner had it made specifically for that space and knew the design based off a piece of artwork that they liked. They had basically the tile backsplash created behind there, and that's the type of finishes that you get in this home. It's just all around top quality.
Man, that is stunning. I was looking at that backsplash. Is like, and that's a tile thing. That's crazy.
Individual tiles, yeah.
Individual tiles, yeah. A mosaic. That's insane. Yeah. Thank you, Scott. All right, let's see what Dylan's got. It feels like Christmas. It's like, let's see what Dylan's got for us. Okay, so Dylan, not to be outdone, gives us a 2-bedroom, 3-bath in Kona Bay Estates. Man, this is like a resort property. Dylan, what is this?
Yeah, Kona Bay Estates is actually a really unique. There's not that many homes in it. It actually runs near where the old airport is in Kona, but it's a very small neighborhood that runs right along the coastline, and homes in there don't come on for very often. Paul Allen from Microsoft owns a home in there, and this is kind of what you get. I mean, it's right on the water. I mean, this one, yeah, it looks like your yard kind of is part of the beach with the way they designed the pool and stuff, but you can see the dining room there on the upper right just opens right out to the ocean views, and just a beautiful, beautiful home. And you're like right in the heart of Kailua Kona, but you're like separated because it's a gated community and it's right behind the old airport. So, and then there's a beach near it called Baby Ponds, and it's all tide pools with sand, and great place to bring kids and stuff and snorkel, but really, really awesome location. And I mean, $5 million, pretty good deal for something like this. So
hey, you talked about quality of life just a minute ago, right? So what's $5 million between some friends, right? I mean,
yep.
What really strikes me about this one, and it's a thing that we take for granted here on Hawaiian architecture. But if you look at that dining room shot in the upper right hand corner, to me it really kind of speaks to this sort of like the way we do things. Right? Notice how open it is. It's like it's completely open, right? I mean, it's I don't know how to describe it exactly, but you all can kind of see that that's the dining room, right?
The way they design them is with pocket doors, so the doors open up and then they go slide into the wall. So you have 4 or 5 panels of doors that will come out of the wall, and you can actually close that off. But when you open it up, you don't actually see the doors because they slide into the walls.
It's designed to be completely open, right?
Yep.
It's designed to be completely open. So literally you open that up. And of course, Kono's weather is so incredibly perfect. It's perfect weather. And so you'd have just crazy. I can imagine the sunsets there must be insane.
Year round, 365 days a year, you get a sunset.
Oh my God.
While you're eating dinner,
And it looks like they did a really good, I like the rock formation there. It almost looks like it's a tide pool, but it's a pool, but it looks like a tide pool, like at least the shot over here with the color green and everything.
Looks real natural, like it's sand and rocks when it's really concrete. And, but it is exactly. all natural stone. Yep.
Yeah, they did a great job. So awesome, gang. All right. Boy, that's so hey gang. So for everyone who's watching over here, which I'm curious, I'm gonna flip through these. So here's the question, gang. Which one of these, if dreaming big over here, we're all dreaming big, which one of these would you want? Would you go for the Kona Bay Estates 2-bedroom 3-bath? Would you go for the Waialae Iki home for $5.8 million, or would you get the living large on the 2-bedroom 2-bath in Wailuku, Maui for $239? Which one of these would you get? Obviously, if money was an object, if money was an object or not. Anyway, however you want to comment it, I want to hear from you all. Pop it in the comments. Want to hear what you folks think about where this goes. Okay, we got a few minutes. I think let's take a question over here, and see. So okay, here's one. Okay, here come the info. So Mark wants the Kona Bay. Yeah, Mark, right? Because Mark, Mark, you were interested on the Big Island.
I can help you with that, Mark.
Mark, Dylan's your guy. Get that property is absolutely astounding. And Jim likes the Kona Bay. Jim likes the Kona Bay property too. Ron took the easy answer. Ron says anything. I'll take any of the above. Yeah, great answer. Great answer, Ron. And looks like the Kona Bay one is winning here. Jim David wants the Kona Bay as well. Yeah, hard of us to live Kona, but love Scott's Place. Auntie Joyce always the kind word. All right, hey, let's see. We have a minute for another question or two. Let's talk about commute locations. So we got this question that came in. This came in from Josh from Albuquerque, and he says, what are neighbors? This is more of an Oahu question, but we'll move it around. What are the neighborhoods with the easiest commutes into town? Are they family friendly? And what should one expect to pay for an average home in each? So Scott, give us a quick rundown of what are the, if you had to commute into town, and I think there's maybe a little bit of a dated slide because no one's commuting anymore. We're all doing Zoom. But anyway, Scott, if you had to commute into town on Oahu, where would you recommend that Josh look at, and what are the given price ranges that he can expect?
I would argue people are back to commute, and I've been hitting a lot of traffic lately, and it's been slowing me up on my showing route.
Oh man, that's not fun.
So, you know, I would probably touch this on a couple of things. It's not only easiest commute, but best schools could be thrown in that, and, you know, family friendly areas. Basically, you know, Oahu, when you look at it, was developed from the urban core Honolulu outward, which means that's where most of our commerce is and business work and things. So if you want to be in that town section, you're basically looking from Diamond Head to the Poly Highway as the best neighborhoods, best school systems, best family oriented neighborhoods. So you're talking Makiki Heights. Manoa is extremely popular, bigger yards, more established, mature neighborhood, great for families, yard space for the kids and things. Then you get further over St. Louis Heights, Palolo. Those are going to be some of the best ones for commute into town. Super easy. I mean, you come down Tantalus or Makiki Heights, Manoa, any of those, it's 10 minutes. You're max during traffic or something. You're dropping right into town. And then if you want to move in condition home, you're 1.4 to 1.6 is kind of your average. You can go a little bit below that, but then you're going to be getting into fixer mode. And if you go above that, you're getting into some really nice quality products. Kahala is about 2.8 on the median price. Diamond Head is going to be right in that same range, that price point. So those get a little more expensive, but you can get some stuff in town in that, you know, mid 1.5 to 2 range pretty easily that are nice homes.
Excellent. Great. So, thank you, Scott. You know what? I want to move around a little bit because we don't have a lot of time, and I don't think the commute's as much of an issue. Heidi, what's Maui's traffic like these days? Is there a commute? Is there a commute sort of a thing going on? Where would you recommend? I mean, what's Maui's traffic like? Is there a commute issue on Maui these days?
Well, it depends. I mean, it depends where you're commuting to. To get from the west side over to central Maui, Kaului, Wailuku area, there can be traffic, and it can take an hour. I mean, it can take longer. Last year, of course, it was just great. You could fly over there. You know, we're talking about quality of life and where you're going to live. I've always been a believer that living close to where you need to be every day is really important in adding to your quality of life. And when I moved to Maui, I didn't really understand that a place that's 15 or 20 miles away could take an hour to get there because there are these winding roads hugging the shoreline. I mean, it's not a straight shot where you can just go 65 the whole way. So it is something to take into consideration. But I mean, overall, Maui is a fairly small island. I mean, most places from central Maui, south Maui, west Maui, I mean, within an hour or so, you could get there.
Yeah. Thanks, Heidi. Yeah, great point. You want to live as close to you can. I used to have an office that was in town, and we had to commute into town. It wasn't that bad, but still it was a commute, and a rush hour, 30, 40 minutes to get back and forth, if not more sometimes. And then I moved the office where it was, literally 3 minutes away. Huge increase of quality of life. And then finally, I made the final step, and we just built an office and connected it to the house. And that was the best move we ever made. So my commute now is waking, this whole thing about remote working. I've been remote working for over 10 years. And so, my commute is getting up out of the bedroom, making my coffee, and walking into the office. That's my commute. Hey, I got a really good question that came in. Really good. So first of all, Scott, are you in touch with Jason Sims? Scott says, message me those locations. Scott, thank you. Jason, send me. You're on my list. Jason, send me an email. I'll connect you in with Scott, or fill out the form, and we'll make sure we make that connection happen for you. That's great. So, and then now here's a good one. So we got 6 minutes left. Let's kind of do this one. This is a great question. So never talked about this before. So thank you, Sung Ye, Naomi Nordquist, who says, is island fever a real thing in Hawaii? I love that question. Thank you. Because so many people talk about that. We're going to go around. I'm going to start this one because this is one of my favorites. So for me, never. I've never, in fact, I have reverse island fever. I don't want to leave the island. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to go to the mainland. I don't want to take any trips. I don't want to go anywhere. I want to stay. I want to stay in Hawaii. I don't want to go anywhere at all. So that's the thing. But there are some people who get it. There are some people who catch it. They have to, quote, get off the rock. In fact, my wife every so often has to get off the rock. So I think it's a very personal thing. But for me, I have reverse island fever. It doesn't happen to me. I'd be curious to hear what you guys think. Why don't we kind of go clockwise this time? Dylan, island fever. Is it a thing in your family? What do you tell? I'm sure you get asked this, Dylan. So what do you tell people about island fever?
I don't. I think it kind of depends on. That's more probably driven by like if you miss your family or you miss something specific from somewhere. I can tell you in my adult life, I went this past 12 months, March 2020 to March 2021. I did not leave the island. First time in my adult life. Normally I go to mainland 3 to 6 times a year, between vacation, conferences, military duties, whatever it is. So I travel pretty regularly. So in normal times, it wasn't really a thing because I would travel on pretty regularly, but I went 12 months and didn't even notice it. I mean, it was totally cool. So I think that was like the first test, really, if I look back. And I do like going to Vegas, and I do like, going on traveling and getting some different types of food and stuff. But I was totally fine. I mean, my family definitely not. My wife, she doesn't even care if she leaves the house. So, she doesn't even need to go. Now that Costco does Instacart, we just have like the Costco delivered to our front doorstep and we don't ever have to leave. So it's awesome.
Costco delivery? What?
Instacart.
Instacart. Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
the guy goes shopping for you, and then it's a little bit more expensive, but I mean, to save the drive and the crowd, and
it's the time.
Totally.
Save the time.
Yep.
I got to try that. I saw that. I haven't tried it. Well, hey, gang, the results are coming in. So, Jean says, no fever. And when I leave, I can't wait to return to have the smell. Yeah, that smell when you get off the plane, right, Jean? You get off the plane, you get off that plane and that warm weather, that warm, moist air comes into that dry, cold aircraft, right? Warm, moist air, and you smell the plumerias. I never forget that, right? That's the aroma of the island. Joyce also says, hey, I have reverse island fever. Supposed to go to the mainland in August, but really freaking out. It's not about COVID. It's about my comfort zone. Right, Joyce? It's like, I don't want to leave. Mark has mainland fever. He doesn't have island fever. He's got mainland fever. Got to get off the mainland, right, Mark? That's such a great point. Mark, really quick question to your really quick answer. Which island has the best sandy bottom surfing? Okay. Period. End of story. Oahu is the surfing capital of the planet. Period. Let's just stop right there. It's an easy answer. All right. So we're still talking about the island fever, the thing. Scott, what's your response to island fever? Is it a thing?
Yeah. So when I moved here in '99, I didn't leave the islands for 6 years. My trips were between the inner islands because every island is so different that I felt like that was kind of vacation for me. Travel is really important to me. So I usually do 6 to 8 trips a year to go somewhere for, enjoyment and whatnot. But so no, I don't have it. I feel like the people that typically get island fever, like Dylan said, there's some component that's pulling them away, or they come here and they're not outdoors type of people. If you're going to stay inside all day, you can feel very confined and restricted. But I don't get it. In fact, and it's just like JD said, and you said, it's like, man, every time I come back on the plane and I step off and that fresh island air hits you in that warmth, you just feel home. There's something about Hawaii that really you've connected to over the years, and you're never going to get it out of your system. And all my friends that have moved away, and every time they come to visit, they say the exact same thing. Once you step off that plane, you feel it.
There was one time I remember when I stepped off the plane and I'm walking through Honolulu International Airport, which is now Daniel Inouye Airport. But I was walking through the airport and I could actually feel my muscles relaxing. I actually sensed it. My body's muscles were relaxing. I was like, wow, that is amazing. Heidi, what do you tell people? Island fever is a real thing. Do you have it? You have friends who have it. What do you tell people who ask you that question?
No, I don't have it. I've been tested and I'm okay.
Are you negative? Have you tested negative to island fever?
But I think the way to prevent feeling, I mean, island fever is, I think, feeling stir crazy, like you have to get off the island. And if people don't have social connections, or they're not working, or they don't have anything to do, I can understand how you can feel that way. I've never felt that way because I've always been busy doing things. But I think if you come to Hawaii and you're just on vacation and then have nothing else to do and no connection to anyone, I mean, I can see how you might not want to stay. So, I mean, I think it's about having social connections, working or volunteering or having personal interest or something. Because, I mean, after you go to a few luaus and go snorkeling at all the best spots, I mean, are you just going to keep living your life like you're on vacation, or what are you going to do? So,
You know, thank you all, Dylan and Scott and Heidi. I think you guys really kind of fleshed. That's what I love about us when we get in these conversations, right? There's all these different perspectives. It's like a big patchwork quilt, and it all kind of comes together and it forms this great idea. And what I'm kind of catching from you folks that I never really thought about earlier was that this island fever, it's not like this sort of psychological thing that you could kind of take a pill for, so to speak, but it's this thing that comes out because you've either got sort of, you're either all cooped up inside because you're not an outdoors person. That was your perspective, Scott, which was great. You're kind of all cooped up inside. Or Dylan, it's like there's nothing there's something that's kind of pulling you away. That's kind of, something on the mainland that's kind of drawing you there. Or Heidi, to your point, it's because you don't have connections, right? You don't have that social web, that social fabric that kind of binds you to this place. And that's a really great insight. So Sung, I would say that's the thing. Island fever is a real thing for those people who have these issues that we kind of talked about. If you're not connected, you're not in the you don't have a social network. You don't have out things to do. You're not busy. You don't have a job or something that's meaningful. That will all contribute. But it's not a geological thing. It's not a locations thing. You don't have unless you're Mark Lowe and you got mainland fever. But aside from mainland fever, you basically it's those elements. And I really hope that this is kind of fleshed out. Jim, are the luaus open at this time? Jim, I think some of the luaus are open. I don't know specifically. With Scott's nodding his head.
I was at the Marriott this past weekend. And
yeah,
okay,
I was at a wedding last weekend.
It's a little bit limited, but yeah, they're open.
Okay, so yeah, they're open. So that's excellent. So yeah, Vern agrees. You all have amazing advice, but any chance we can add a Kauaian agent to this dream team? I got outbidded on a property on Kauai and want to get more insights. Mahalos. Vern, we want to do Kauai, but we don't have enough Kauai people. I mean, we got like one or two, and you're one. But Vern, you should be connecting with us because we don't have a Kauai agent here on the show, but we've got, through Dylan, we got great connections on Kauai. So if you need someone who's great, huge experience to work with on Kauai, and I know Dylan, through Dylan's network, we have a connection to all the islands. We just don't have it on the show because there's just not enough Kauai content. Just don't have it. All right, we have come to the end of another great show. Let's kind of hit it with our closing thought. We're actually over time, so we're going to make this one brief. Dylan, you are the man with the closing thoughts. Dylan, you've become like the king of the Yoda saying. So why don't you kind of start us off here? What's your closing thought for today, Dylan?
You set the bar too high. I was just going to remind everybody, it's Happy Kamehameha Day today. It's a state holiday, and if you haven't read or done research about King Kamehameha I and the history behind that, it's important to understand that and to understand Hawaii and our culture. But it's a fascinating story. It's almost like one of those mythological things you can't make up, like Alexander the Great and Genghis Khan, one of those characters in history, less known, but still the feats that and accomplishments that he he did way back is something to read about and learn about, because it's fascinating.
Thank you so much for reminding me about that. I'm getting chicken skin now for you saying that. Yes, thank you so much, Dylan, for reminding us about that. Today is Kamehameha Day in Hawaii. It is a state holiday, and it's in honor of this incredible figure. And I thank you, Dylan. And please, folks, go out and do your research. You will find an astounding story. There are a lot of mythological parts about it too, about when he was born, what happened, and when he passed, what happened, and how he's the burial's been he's been secretly buried in a place where no one can find. And it's all kinds of really cool stuff.
It's funny how similar those stories are amongst cultures all over the world. You know,
yes,
these great figures, their birth story and their death story the similarities are crazy.
It is. It's really remarkable. Yeah. Excellent. Scott, what's your? Thank you, Dylan, for reminding us about that. So enjoy your Kamehameha Day. Make it count. Scott, what's your closing thought for today?
Mine is get comfortable being uncomfortable. Anytime you want to have growth in your life, there's an element of pain that comes with it. And you got to step outside of your comfort zone. We've all gone through it through COVID. And then anytime somebody's looking to make the transition from the mainland to here to Hawaii, it's a big step. And there's an element of uncomfortableness and a little bit of pain and growth that you're going to go through. But it's significantly rewarding for me. Every year I try to do something that steps out of my comfort zone. A couple of years ago, I decided to do oil painting with a palette knife and learn that. One of the most amazing experiences I went through for 3 years doing that, made some great friends, and something that I forgot. I did a lot of art as a kid, and I've now brought it back into my life. I had my art teacher even paint me a painting that I've hung up on my wall, and now in a cool journey that I went down. But in order to have growth in your life, there's an element of pain, and you gotta be uncomfortable and be comfortable with doing that.
Wow, Scott, that's pretty darn deep, man. That is pretty darn deep for a Friday morning, and I appreciate it. If we had more time, I'd want to ask you now, where is that all coming from, Scott? But anyway, Heidi, thank you, Scott. I really appreciate that. That's great wisdom. What's your closing thought for today, Heidi?
Well, I wanted to share there's 3 Hawaiian values, which I really love. And these are actually hanging on our wall in our office. So I see them and think about them all the time. It's pono, which is do the right thing. Aloha, which is do it with love. And then kuleana, take care of your responsibility. And I just think those are great values. And I try to live by them, work by them. And closing thought is there are a lot of great surf spots on Maui too.
Maui's great. No, it's see, gang. Okay, now you're all getting the island rivalry, right? And it's island rivalry now, right? So okay, wait. Oahu's best. No. Maui no ka oi. No, hey, Maui has amazing surfing. There's no doubt about that. And I would give props to Maui. Maui has, I believe the beach, if I'm not mistaken, Heidi, please correct me, is Ho'okipa, if I'm not mistaken. Ho'okipa is the windsurfing capital of the world. And Maui has, we'll give Maui its props. Maui has Jaws, which is like this crazy big wave that rivals the best waves in the world. Oahu's still better. But Maui's great. Just kidding. All right. Thanks everyone. So thanks, gang. This has been great. Let's give our alohas. Let's go clockwise. Dylan, Scott, and Heidi, say your goodbyes to everybody.
Aloha, everybody.
Aloha, everyone.
See you in a couple weeks.
Aloha.
See y'all in a couple weeks. It was great. Great, gang. Thanks so much. Love you all. See you in a couple weeks. Enjoy. Have a great holiday. Have a great Kamehameha Day holiday. If you're in Hawaii, have a great weekend. Aloha, everyone.